What's up guys, Jarv here, back today jumping into Destiny. We are back with the original This Week in Destiny, giving you the full breakdown of the up and coming week. We have a brand new update being pushed live into the game. This week sees the launch of Grandmaster Nightfalls, the continuation of the Into the Depths quest. And on top of that, we break down all the weekly rituals, lost sectors, weekly challenges, and so much more. Now, as for the update itself, we see update 7102 being deployed into Destiny on the 13th of June. This will see the weekly Last Wish quest being fixed, therefore no longer granting additional loot each week. On top of that, we see a wide range of exotic fixes. The Vesta of Radius will be re-enabled alongside Capri's Horn, as well as some braces having their increased duration on solar grenades completely restored. Now, Bungie did go on to mention a few other fixes coming into the game that allows certain grenades to go through barricades and the Ward of Dawn, and they're also toning down the collective action perk in PvP, so this now only provides a 10% damage buff. Now, full patch notes will be live on the 13th of June, so keep your peepers peeled for that, and I'll be sure to add them to the video description once they go live. Now, as well as that update, we also see a continuation of the Into the Depths quest. This is the main quest for Season of the Deep, and as things currently stand, we have 3 weeks worth of story still remaining. It's still not known whether we'll get the exotic scout rifle this week or at the very end of the main quest, which ends in week 6. Bungie are very much keeping their lips sealed on this one, but if you have any ideas or suggestions, then as always, be sure to sound off down in the comments below. Now, as for the raid challenge, this week's challenge is called All Hands and can be found over in the Nezarec encounter. For this, all fire team members must activate a light node and dark node during each and every DPS phase. And on top of that, players must also shoot the final node, the 6th one in each sequence, within a few seconds of each other to complete the challenge. So the more DPS phases you and your team need, the harder this challenge gets. And if you do struggle with communication, then I highly recommend setting up a rotation, which will make it easier for you and your fire team. If you and your team can pull this off, you'll get access to an additional raid chest on top of some adept raid loot. And the adept weapon for this week is the Nessa's Oblation. So if you're still seeking out weapon patterns for this weapon, then make sure to jump into the Root of Nightmares this week. Now, if you are enjoying the video, we've been making This Week in Destiny for over 2 years and post it each and every week. So feel free to consider subscribing, as we are well on our way to 200k. Now, from here, we're going to move on to the featured raid and dungeon content for week 4. This week sees the Vault of Glass return as the featured raid. Therefore, all the raid challenges are available. Perfect if you're still looking to earn some of these incredible weapons. And on top of that, the final encounter is farmable. So if you don't have the Vex Mythoclast, which is the exclusive exotic weapon from this raid as well, then this is the perfect opportunity to go grind that weapon out. Now, as for the featured dungeon, there was a lot of comments last week with the anticipation that the Shattered Throne should have been the dungeon last week. That is in fact the dungeon this week, and the changes are due to the Spire of the Watcher entering the featured dungeon rotation. Now, as for the Shattered Throne, this was the original dungeon experience that launched back in Forsaken, and will see us taking on Dol Inkaru as the final boss. Sadly, there's no exclusive weapon for this dungeon, but Dol Inkaru is a great boss to farm if you're looking for seasonal engrams, and these offer high stat armor and some of the new weapons available in Season of the Deep. Now, this brings us nicely onto Dares of Eternity and the 30th anniversary pack activity. This week we have the Pathfinder set from Season of the Lost return, alongside everybody's favourite armor set, the Scatterhorn armor set from Forsaken. So with the Pathfinder armor from Season of the Lost, we do have Season of the Lost weapons this week, including the Fractathist, the Chrysuria Mellow, the Vulpecula, the Wolftone Draw, the Iota Draconis, the Canis Major, the Contingency Plan, the Legal Action 2, the Outrageous Fortune, the Steel Sibyl Sword, and the Spoiler Alert Sidearm. Now, the loot pool in this activity changes each and every week, so these can drop during the activity when you actually complete it, or just by handing in strange coins at the Star Horse over in the Treasure Hoard. Now, from here, we're going to move on to the weekly ritual activities, and this week we'll see the launch of Grandmaster Nightfalls into the game. Now, whilst Grandmasters are available, the Grandmaster node won't be until later in the season, in week 7. So from this week and until then, you'll only be able to run the Grandmaster that's available in any given week. This week's Nightfall and first Grandmaster Nightfall for Season of the Deep is the Light Blade that launched back in Witch Queen. This is always seen as one of the more difficult Nightfalls in the rotation, but if you and your team can pull this off, then the Wendigo GL3 is available as a Nightfall exclusive reward. Now, it's important to remember that the Adept version is exclusive to the Grandmaster challenge, and you will be guaranteed an Adept reward if you can earn a Platinum medal during your Grandmaster run. Now, as for the Crucible, we see Supremacy return to the game alongside Momentum Control as the Crucible rotators for the week. But when it comes to bonus ranks, this can in fact be found over in the Gambit playlist. So if you haven't jumped into Gambit just yet, or you've been saving your seasonal challenges, then this week could be the best week to jump in to knock them out and earn some bonus Gambit rewards. Now from here, we're going to move on to the Lost Sector calendar for week 4 of Season of the Deep. Now upon this week's weekly reset, you'll be able to head over to the Exodus Garden 2A, and this will be offering exotic helmets. As for Wednesday, we'll be back on the moon at K1 Revelation for a chance at exotic boots, and Thursday will offer the K1 crew quarters and a pair of exotic gauntlets. On Friday, with the return of Trials, we'll have the K1 Logistics in rotation, offering exotic chest pieces, and we'll roll into the weekend over in the K1 Communion, offering another chance at exotic helmets. As for Sunday, you can head over to Sepulture for another chance at exotic boots, and you'll be able to round out the week over at Extraction, and this once again will be offering exotic gauntlets. So as always, if you're still working on some of the newer exotics that were added during the course of Lightfall and even this season, then be sure to plan your week accordingly. And if you do want to check out this full calendar for yourself over in Today in Destiny, make sure to do so, and I'll leave the link to that down in the video description below. Now from here, we're going to move on to seasonal challenges, and there are 9 seasonal challenges for week 4 of season 21. We kick off with the Into the Depths 4, so here you need to complete week 4 of the Into the Depths quest. That's followed by Frontline Salvager 4, so here you need to complete salvage or deep dive activities while using the Void subclass. Additionally, defeating Hive anywhere in the system will also grant some progress. That's followed by Deep Diver, so here you need to successfully complete encounters at any depth in the deep dive activity, and Pressure Trials encounters will grant increased progress. That's followed by Commemorable Salvager, so for this you need to give or receive commendations in match-made salvage activities. That's followed by Mod Collector, and here you need to unlock 12 artifact mods. That's followed by Momentum Crash, so here you need to defeat Guardians in Momentum Control, and you'll earn bonus progress with Zone Advantage. That's followed by Sound of Metal, so here you need to defeat targets with auto rifles, hand cannons and scout rifles in Gambit, and you'll earn bonus progress for defeating Guardians. The penultimate challenge is called Darkest Nightfall, so here you need to complete any Nightfall strike on hero difficulty or higher. And the final challenge for this week is called Precision Calibration, so here you need to calibrate marksman weapons such as scout rifles, sniper rifles and linear fusion rifles by landing precision final blows, and you'll get extra progress against Guardians. Now all these challenges offer Challenger XP, some offer Bright Dust, and the Darkest Nightfall challenge will also offer an exclusive guaranteed Nightfall weapon reward. Now this reward is likely the same for everyone and isn't always guaranteed to be the weapon that's in rotation for any given week, so make sure to knock out that challenge to get your free weapon reward. So there we have it guys, a good look on everything that you can expect for week 4 of Season of the Deep. If you've enjoyed this video, then be sure to check out one of the 2 videos you see here in these cards for more Destiny 2 content. And if you want to keep up to date with everything to do with Destiny 2, then be sure to hit subscribe as well. I'm going to jump into the game as always guys, and I will catch you all again very soon.